Halifax has had a long military history, and the signs of this are still very clearly visible today. We're here at the Halifax Citadel. This is actually the fourth fortification, and as you can see, it's beautiful even today. But 250 years ago, there was nothing here, nothing but virgin territory. Edward Cornwallis came all the way from the UK with 2,576 settlers to establish the first settlement. But the settlers that he took with him may not have been the best choice. They were all from urban London. They had no experience whatsoever farming or building, and by the end of the first winter, more than half of them were dead.
Shortly after, German settlers were brought in to finish the job, and luckily they fared much better. By the end of the first year, the fort was finished. But a problem that persisted was the fact that the fort was made completely from wood, and with each passing winter, the wood deteriorated. It wasn't until decades later that enough funding was found to construct the first fort, made completely from stone.
I'm here at the Cavalier building. This is where all the soldiers were stationed during their stay here at the Halifax Citadel. And if you look closely, you'll notice bars in front of the windows. Now you think that's to keep the enemy out. No, it's to keep all the soldiers in. They were locked up here at night, all night. Some lucky soldiers got to take their families with them. So there'd be the soldier, his wife, in the bed, and the kids underneath the bed, all the time. And during the night, if one of the soldiers or one of the members of the family heard the call of nature, there was only a bucket to relieve them. A soldier's duty would include having to stand sentry right here in front of the powder magazine to make sure everybody was kept far away. Even the soldiers themselves had first needed to change in a specially made uniform with copper buttons, because copper doesn't spark. The soldiers, however, also contributed to the construction of this fortification. What you see here today wasn't built until 1828, and it wasn't finished until 28 years later. And if you look around you, you can see why. This fortification is made almost entirely from granite, which is the best material to build because of its durability. But it had to be dragged all the way from Purcell's Cove, or even Peggy's Cove. Now that meant years spent trying to not only hack the stone away, but then having to drag it all the way from Peggy's Cove, all the way through the wilderness and up the hill before the fort could be constructed. No wonder it took 28 years. Their handiwork still exists today. Even though the fortification has never been attacked, North American history would have looked very different had it never been built. It acted more as a deterrent than anything else. The British themselves didn't even leave until 1906, decades after Confederation. And up until as recently as the Second World War, the fort was still used as a command post for the Allied forces, testament to the importance of Halifax on the world stage.